All right, we ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hey there. Welcome to Second Cup with Steve. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you're doing well. Ah, the nights are cooler. The mornings are brisk. I'm enjoying my coffee. I like coffee anyway. I never would have thought I'd been the guy. I can remember when I was a kid, my dad drinking coffee in the middle of the summer, blazing hot. He'd come in, sit down, and have a steaming hot cup of coffee at the table. Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? And now I do the very same thing. It's very odd. Maybe it's age, maybe, I don't know, something. But anyway, hope you're enjoying your day. Hope you're having your second cup of coffee and sitting down relaxing. Was thinking about the other day, I wear bracelets. A bracelet. I have one. And it broke. So it just kind of came loose at the edge of the clasp here. So I called Alicia, my daughter, and said, hey, baby, my bracelet is broken. I need a new one. And here she comes, and she rescues me with this beautiful new magnetic. It's just absolutely stunning. Once in a while, people will ask me, why do you wear a leather bracelet? What's that all about? I'm glad you asked. In 1997, Alicia was going on 16, somewhere in there. Yeah, 16, 17. She went on a mission trip with me. We went to Trinidad and Tobago. It was huge. It was bigger than we'd anticipated. Ended up taking 51 people from our church, where we were in Ojai, California at the time, and we joined a team of about 250 others that were in Trinidad and Tobago, and it was wild and woolly. I mean, we were just out there, and we're doing street evangelism. We set up stages, and we had dramas, and we had teams, and I mean, we did all kinds of stuff. We're up on the Brian Lara Promenade. If you want to know who Brian Lara is, you should look it up. An amazing cricket player. I know nothing of the game of cricket other than to know that Brian Lara is a superstar. He's above and beyond a Michael Jackson in the world of cricket. But anyway, so we did a whole bunch. It was just a ton of fun. But as is the routine on any mission trip, anywhere that we go, there's always a day of sightseeing, and of course everybody wants to go shopping. We got to go buy trinkets and gifts and things from the local arena. It's just kind of what we do. I'm convinced, having been to 77 countries now, I think, that there's one main factory in China somewhere that makes all of this stuff, and it all goes, because it seems to always be the same. There's ceramic hamburgers, and there's carved wooden boxes, and there's just, I mean, it's just kind of usual stuff. So and I've done a second cup on this before. I'm more of I really want something handcrafted that's unique to the culture of the place where I'm at. So, but the team's out. I'm letting them shop, and it's great. We're in this kind of flea market style. So there's a lot of little booths and some actual buildings, and it's all covered, and we're kind of running through this, and I just let them go. And hey, we'll meet back here in a couple hours. And so Alicia and I are walking through this together, and we walked in this little shop and struck up a conversation with a Trinidadian lady. Very nice. They're very warm and friendly people. We just were having a great time. And so she said, why are you here? Are you here on vacation? And no, we're not on vacation. We're on a mission trip. And now, you don't know Alicia well. You hear me talk about her from time to time. But she's an introvert. I'm called to stay and to send. And she works the office here. I'm pointing over there because that's where she's at, in the office over there. And she does the books and manages, and amazing at what she does, but doesn't go with me very often. But this was one of those, this was actually before Global Passion. And so we're there, and I mean, all of a sudden she's just sharing with this lady, and she kind of shares her testimony and why are we here and what this is about. And we're telling people about Jesus, and I'm just kind of absolutely amazed at watching her go and what she's saying. And at the end of it, this lady was so moved and so touched by Alicia's story that she said, I just want to do something nice for you. So she pulled out 2 leather bracelets, and she handed us these bracelets. So you can see this one's, the clasp on it is broken. But that's the original. That's the original bracelet that lady gave us. Alicia has hers. We have now gone through, I don't know, probably 8 or 10 variations of it down through the years, because that was 1997. It was a long time ago. And I remember I was in Ireland when this broke, and I was devastated because I thought I'd lost it. It was actually stuck up the sleeve of my jacket. And so I have it. It lives in my desk. We've talked about framing them and doing something else with it, but it's just a great reminder that she and I wear together. So there's the new one. It's literally like a week old, but it's a prayer reminder between the two of us. As the Old Testament talks about this from time to time, a stone of remembrance. Because every time I look at the bracelet, I think of her, and I think of the situation and the circumstances where this came about, and I'm prone to breath prayers, so it may not be a long, elongated, and I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes praying, but there's always just that moment of, Lord, just be with Alicia today. I just think of her every time I see that, and it's been significant. So I was thinking about that as the new bracelet came, and I figured out and got it on. It's the clasp is different, and it's a little adjustment there. This original one was just a leather loop that was actually, as he was kind of stuck there together, and I don't remember how long I wore that. Probably 3 years before that leather finally gave way and that little piece broke. But it reminded me of the children of Israel in Joshua chapter 4. It says in verse number 1, when the whole nation had finished crossing the Jordan. So if you know the story, the children of Israel delivered from Egypt. The first batch of them came across. They got to the Jordan River. The promised land is right there. The spies went and looked. 12 spies went. 12 spies came back. 10 of the spies said, it's too big, it's too hard, we can't do this. Joshua and Caleb were the other 2 spies, and they said, yes, the Lord is with us, let's go and take possession of the land. But the people were afraid, and so they rejected the opportunity to go. The Bible says then they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. I've driven through that wilderness. It's like the backside of the moon. I don't know how they survived other than just the miracle provision of God in this time. But this is the second journey. This is now they've come back. So 40 years has passed. The old generation is gone. Now it's the next generation. They're all new, except for Joshua and Caleb. They're the only 2 left. And they come and says they crossed. They came to the Jordan. And Joshua, the Lord spoke to Joshua, said, choose 12 men from among the people, 1 from each tribe, and tell them to take up 12 stones from the middle of the Jordan, from right where the priests are standing, and carry them over with you and put them down at a place where you will stay tonight. Later on in that chapter, he says, and then say this to the Israelites, in the future, when your descendants ask their parents, what do these stones mean? Tell them, Israel crossed the Jordan onto dry ground. It's a stone of remembrance. And so this is literally what this is to me and to Alicia, that this is it's not a stone, it's a bracelet, but it's an imagery, it's an element that we use to remember what the Lord spoke. And I remember something Alicia said. She said, God did the impossible. He was bigger than my limitations. So her stepping out of her comfort zone, she was on the stage doing dances the whole 9 yards. He wasn't bound by my inability, but I was loosed by his ability. And so coming from a 16-year-old, that was pretty significant. That was pretty strategic moment in her life, in my life. And it just, every time I think about it, every time I see the bracelet, I'm reminded of that. And just like the Lord told Joshua and the Israelites here, take these 12 stones, carry them with you as a remembrance, as a reminder. It reminds me of communion, what Jesus said to the disciples in the Last Supper. He said, when you do this, remember, think about it, that these are things to remind you of what it is I've done for you. So the children of Israel are reminded of the deliverance of God, that they literally walked across the Jordan on dry ground. God prepared the way for them and sent them into the promised land, and Israel is still there today as a result of their obedience then. Jesus said, when you sit down for the Last Supper, when you sit down for communion, let it remind you, remember what I have done. And so for Alicia and I, that's literally what it is. It's a reminder of a very special time together, and it's a reminder of God's ability to use us in whatever capacity He chooses, and sometimes to break out of our comfort and to get out of things that we like to hide in, and kind of tuck away. That sometimes the Lord is going to say, no, I'm going to use you to touch somebody else's life. And so that lady in that shop received the gospel. She heard the good news of Jesus because a 16-year-old stepped out of her comfort zone and said, I'll do my part. So I want to encourage you with that today. Find the scriptures. Find those things that remind you of the things that God has said to you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying set up idols, okay? Just also that hit my brain. That's not what this is. It's just a remembrance. It's a stone of remembrance of what God did, and a very special moment between a father and a daughter. And those are precious. And we need to latch onto those and hang on to those to remember the good things. Remember the good things that God has done. Father, I pray for my friends today. I pray that you encourage them, Lord. This story maybe means a lot more to me than it does to them. But Lord, I know that in each of our lives you have done significant elements. And I pray, God, today that you remind them of all the good things that you've done, the good promises we find in your word, Lord, and your ability working through us to do the absolute impossible. Father, you're amazing, and we love you. We thank you so much. Bless my friends, encourage them today, I pray. In Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen. God bless you. Don't forget, stones of remembrance.